It's funny, we all kind of live like we have infinite time, right? We push things off, we say, "Oh, someday," we get bogged down in stuff that just doesn't matter. But what if we've been looking at the clock all wrong? Let's take a minute and really reframe our single most valuable, totally non-renewable resource, our time.
Take a look at this number, 30,000. That's it. That is the average number of days you get in a human life. And when you see it just laid out like that, it's not a lot, is it? It's a finite, countable number. It kind of hits you.
And that really brings us to the most important question. I mean, think about it. If you're 30 years old, you've already used up over 11,000 of your days. Poof, gone. So the real challenge isn't about managing time, it's about investing the time you have left. So let's figure out how to do that wisely.
To change how we spend our time, we first have to understand how we actually perceive it, and it turns out our brains play some pretty fascinating tricks on us. This all comes down to something called the time unit paradox. Ever wonder why those childhood summers felt like they lasted forever? It's because your brain measures time by recording new experiences. As a kid, everything is new, so your brain is constantly hitting the record button, making time feel super rich and slow.
But then, adulthood happens. We get stuck in routines. Same commute, same job, same TV shows. Our brain basically goes, yep, seen this before, and stops paying close attention. And the days just blurred together. But here's the cool part. You can actually hack this system, break your routine, learn a new skill, go somewhere different for lunch. Each new experience forces your brain to pay attention again, which effectively stretches out your perception of time.
Now, this idea of perception doesn't just apply to years. It applies to moments, too. Take this number, 90 seconds. That's how long the actual chemical rush of an emotion, like anger or frustration or even excitement, actually lasts in your body. And here is the absolute game changer. While you can't really control that initial 90-second wave of emotion, what happens after that minute and a half is a choice. You can choose to let it pass, or you can choose to refuel it and keep that emotional loop going for hours or even days. That's an incredible amount of power you have over your own inner world. So once we start to get a handle on our inner world, we can start making much smarter choices about our outer world. This is really all about cutting through the noise.
Oh, man. This is a trap that is so easy to fall into. We all confuse being busy with being productive. Answering every single email, going to every meeting, it feels important, but a lot of the time it's just motion without meaning. Real productivity is about a ruthless focus on the few things that actually move you closer to your real goals.
Need a filter to tell the difference? Use this. It's called the Deathbed Test. It's simple. When you're 90, looking back on your life, are you going to care about that annoying email you answered, or are you going to care about the time you didn't spend with the people you love? It just cuts right through the nonsense and makes your real priorities crystal clear.
And if you want something even more hands-on, try this simple, powerful strategy. First, list out everything you want to achieve. Everything. Now, circle only your top 3 priorities. Just 3. Everything else that's left? That's not your "I'll do it later" list. No, that is your "avoid at all costs" list. Sometimes, knowing what not to do is the most important thing.
In this idea of focusing on what really matters, it applies directly to our careers. For decades, we've all been sold this idea of a linear path upwards. The classic career ladder. But honestly, it's an outdated and pretty limiting way to think.
A much better metaphor for a modern career is a jungle gym. Think about it. You move sideways, you move diagonally, maybe you even climb down for a bit to get to a much better spot. Every single move builds this unique combination of skills that makes you incredibly valuable, totally unlike the person who's just one rung above or below you on a predictable ladder.
So just like a jungle gym career builds this unique portfolio of skills, a well-lived life builds a balanced portfolio of assets. Your life isn't just your job. It's a whole collection of interconnected investments, and you've got to manage them all wisely.
And what's the absolute foundation of that entire portfolio? Your health. And listen, this isn't just about avoiding getting sick. Your physical and mental energy is the multiplier for everything else you do. Seriously, would you rather have 8 energized, focused hours in the day or 12 exhausted, miserable ones? Your vitality determines the quality of all your other time.
Now, what about wealth? We usually think about financial wealth, but what about time affluence? Just look at this chart. Who's really wealthier here? The person making more money but working 80 soul-crushing hours a week, or the person earning a bit less but only working 30? True wealth is having control over your own time.
Another crucial asset in your life's portfolio is your relationships. And real friendship, genuine connection, it actually has a formula. You need all three of these things: consistent time together, the guts to be vulnerable, and shared experiences, especially the tough ones. You can't shortcut any of them.
Here's another way to think about it that I really love. Imagine that every relationship you have is a bank account. A kind word, a quick text to check in, that's a deposit. Being late, forgetting something important, that's a withdrawal. And it's the small, consistent deposits, not the big, grand gestures, that build the deepest reserves of trust over time.
So when you put all of this together, what's the big idea? It's this: you are not a passive passenger just along for the ride in your own life. No. You are the architect. You get to design it.
And these are the core principles to get you started. First, stop trying to create some perfect, rigid 5-year plan. Instead, think of your life as a series of small experiments. Try things. Next, remember that tiny adjustments lead to massive results. And you have to define your own metrics for a successful life, not what society tells you. Finally, check in with yourself. A monthly review can prevent a whole year's worth of regret.
Ultimately, all of these strategies, all these mindsets and frameworks, they all come down to one simple, powerful truth. Time is passing right now, whether you're using it wisely or not. The perfect moment to begin isn't in some distant future. It is right now, today.
Because in the end, your daily habits become your days become your years, and your years become your life. So the only real question left is, what will you start building tomorrow?